So you have states competing with other states to access critical PPE gear, to access masks, to access all of the things that hospitals needed at the time. So there was no central leadership at all. He hasn't federalized any of the approach, and it leaves, then a huge disparity in how states can handle it. And it also leaves a lot of confusion, because how do we know who to look to when the leader of the country is not saying anything concrete, and there's no consistent messaging, which we know in any kind of public crisis, consistent messaging is really what helps pull a country through.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for the leader is to at least acknowledge that we have a crisis, right? And that has been missing all along, okay? And even after himself, he got corona like a week back.
The Black Lives Matter movement without talking about the unproportional amount of Black men that end up in jail for absolutely petty crimes, for, the possession of a small amount of marijuana or a small amount of crack or a personal amount of some drug. So I think Biden's take on criminal justice reform is quite good. He wants to, repeal mandatory minimums and end that disparity between crack and cocaine. He wants to make it so cannabis is totally decriminalized. And those are really, really, really important steps, and give reparations when people come out of jail, allow them to get back on a SNAP program or get back on a funding program, get back on things that can get them back on their feet. That I think is really important, because changing a really long time, but at least we can change the criminal justice system, which is skewed so heavily in the way of hurting minorities.
Also, this matter, publicly, there were only like 28% were pro Black Lives Matter before this, last year, if I say. Yeah. Right now, they have a support of 60 or 68%. So this will stay. I mean, it's not like just because it's Trump. I mean, that Trump gave the fuel to Black Lives Matters, but I think it's here to stay.
And the problems that led us to this place, to this movement, in the first place, I mean, they started long before Trump, and they will continue long after Trump, irrespective of who's in the White House. Yeah. When Obama was president, I think it was during his tenure in office that the BLM movement actually really started.
Like, my company had filed for H-1B for 5 times and I did not get it. And then my F1 visa expired, and I had to leave to India, work for Apple from Bangalore. And my wife was still here studying, so we kind of had to live separate for 1 year. And then even from India, they filed H1, it was not picked. So I am here now on L1. My H1 is picked last year, but I'm still debating, should I even jump on the H1 bandwagon because of all the issues that this visa category can have in future. Yeah. So to talk about my issue here, right? I don't think it's the Trump administration. It's the general approach to immigration by US, because I was blocked from getting the H-1B visa in the lottery step itself. And the lottery step, it's basically, it's sheer luck. No, it doesn't matter for which company you work, right? So it never mattered that I work for Apple. I was not even getting through the lottery system, right? And I think that is kind of a bottleneck, because people abuse the system. They file like 3-4 H-1Bs by going to consultancies and paying some cash, right? And they kind of clog the whole lottery. Yeah. So that affects genuine candidates with legitimate offers and companies and degrees. So this should have been reformed maybe during Obama's tenure. But when Trump came in, he is making it more and more difficult to retain this H-1B. Even if you get through the lottery, he's kind of adding few small clauses with which, you might not get 3-year extension, you might get 1 year, or you might need higher wages than what you're earning right now. So all these small changes are kind of indirectly targeted to make it more and more difficult to stay on H-1B.
He has signed an executive order yesterday regarding this, right? A lottery system has been taken, abolished for 100%. And then it is about the wages or something like that. I just saw a glimpse of this news.
A couple days ago at one of his rallies, he was, he's been trying to appeal to the, like the white suburban woman, and, and saying like, oh, I got your husband's, I got your husband's, their jobs back. I brought back the economy so your husbands can work. But it's like, like women do work. You're appealing to this whole like, okay, we're a very like patriarchal society. And the whole rush with the new Supreme Court justice that happened, she's another one who's really against women's rights. She has said in press conferences before that women should, be required to vote for the candidates that their husbands vote for. She thinks that, in some of her past legal proceedings, she has talked about how, we have confidentiality in our medical care. A father or a husband should be privy to the confidential medical information, trying to get rid of abortion rights, So I think it's very scary, as a woman, even though I'm in India right now, I feel that everything the women have worked for, it's, if things keep going how they are with like Trump and the Supreme Court right now, we're going to start seeing things go backwards.
Well, and I think what's really unfortunate, and absolutely bless Ruth Bader Ginsburg for all of the years she served and all the work she did, is that with this new justice, even if Biden is elected, it's likely going to be the case that Roe versus Wade will be repealed in the next couple of years. I mean, it's likely to be the case. And that is so heartbreaking to think that in 2020, we're regressing that far, that it will go back to being states' rights, which will leave every single red women in every single red state with absolutely no options or very, very limited options. I think Trump is deplorable, disgusting, and horrific when it comes to how he feels about women.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.